So I heard some mumbles. I heard maybe some things. Let's talk quick. Explain the distinction between regional and global. This is not intended to be a really difficult question, right? But still a question nonetheless. What'd you say? What is the distinction?
I said global is all across the world, and then regional is in the same area. So I can examples like the Midwest.
No. She's trying to define what a region, or give an example of a region, right? So all across the world. Whereas regional is, what did you say?
Around, like in the same area.
So the Midwest is a region. Give me another example of a region. Hold on a second. Or do you have is that what you were going to tell?
Yeah, for region, I said it's like a small area.
Okay, so what is
area
then global? Okay. So a smaller area. Give me some examples of other regions. I'm just curious. What else you got? Yeah.
Caribbean.
Okay. Yeah. Is it EEAN? I don't remember. I can never spell it. Never been there. Can't. Not that having been there means you can spell something or not. I don't want to make that like a distinction. Yeah.
The Fertile Crescent is a region.
It is. Awesome. So, for those of you that have not had the opportunity to learn about the Fertile Crescent, can you tell them where it is and what it is, just real quick, so that there's context to it?
I think it's
in like in the Middle East.
Yeah, and language diffused right there. I don't know.
She memorized that for a test. I'm not saying that's really true, but yeah. It was in the Middle East. There was an area there, right, that where the conditions and the weather were right, so that you could have good population, good food supply, and therefore development of lots of things that then diffused. More science words. Woo! All right. So I'm just trying to be smart. Oh, okay. If you have not yet put your brown piece of paper away with your network bingo on, you're going to flip that over. We're multitasking, saving trees. If you put it away, pull it back out, flip it over. This is leading us into our notes for the day today, okay? Or our conversation for the day today. So we are talking about global and regional in terms of climate and in terms of climate change. So far, when we've been talking about climate and climate change, like when we were talking about the pollen, and remember that tube of dirt with all the pollen in it? What was that discussing? Was that talking about global climate change or regional climate change? What's that? Regional, because it was localized, right? It was in a specific spot, okay? Regional climate change. We're just going to write down some formal definitions here. I don't know why my stylus is so upset today. I guess. I just got new batteries, though, because it's Tuesday. It didn't get to work yesterday, so it's feeling like it's like going to rebel. Regional climate change is regional climate. Sorry, taking out the word change. It'll come back next in a minute. I apologize. Got ahead of myself. Regional climate is the climate of one area. Like the Midwest, like the Caribbean, like the Fertile Crescent, right? But it's one kind of smaller area, whereas global climate, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. Sorry about my awesome handwriting today. It's not me. It probably is, actually, no. The climate of the entire planet. Okay. Now, when we talk about climate change, we have to talk about some different things that could happen. And generally, when we talk about climate change, when scientists talk about it, instead of just talking about regional climate change, which occurs, right? And we know that, we can look at that from pollen and we can look at that from some other things. Generally, when we're talking about it in terms of global climate change. So there are two kind of extremes. The first is global warming. Okay. And that is when the global climate, is increasing in temperature. The opposite of global warming would be, oh, you guys are so smart. That's actually what it's called, yeah. And global cooling, again, I'm guessing that you can figure out this definition, but just in case, let's make sure we've got it written down. It's when the global climate is decreasing in temperature. You've got it. One of the big causes of global warming, we've kind of talked about this and we're going to talk about it more in the next couple of days here. One of the big causes of global warming has to do with greenhouse gases, doesn't it? We've talked about that a little bit, okay? There's a situation that's called greenhouse climate. And that's the climate that occurs when there is very little ice at the poles. So that would be the extreme of global warming. And now let's see if we can figure this one out. The extreme for global cooling is not called the greenhouse. Anybody have heard this one? Do we know? Good guess. It's the ice house. I heard somebody say it. Oh my gosh. What's that?
So I think you just need to find a different
way to write on the board.
It has all these dents in it now. Well, I've tried to write, like I can write here, but when I've done that, students have told me they prefer this. So I just need to get a new stylus again, I think is what the story is. Yeah. Cold enough. Okay. To have, this says ice at the poles. I feel like it's got to be a little colder than that, but I'm just going to go ahead and write this down because. Okay. What's that? It depends on the day, though. It depends on the day. We are right now experiencing an ice house climate. Data collection. Okay. So, we doing all right so far? Definitions, we're good. All right. So down below, the next thing, the more exciting part of this activity, okay, is to look at this graph. So let's look at what the axes say. So the bottom here says thousands of years before today. So this is measuring what?
The year.
Time or years, right? So 400,000 years before today. 350,000 years, blah, 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 blah. So this way we're going forward in time. Does that make sense? So 0 is today, okay? We've intentionally cut this off because that's what the activity is going to be for today. What's that?
0's 1950.
Oh, you're right. It is. Thank you for reading that carefully. Haley caught me. 0 is 1950. You got it. Okay. On the on the y-axis, excuse me, we've got, what is CO2? Carbon dioxide, which is in parts per million. That means how many little molecules of carbon dioxide are there per million molecules of stuff in the air? Okay. So I want you to look at this, and I'm going to strongly encourage that you use a pencil for this activity. So if you do not have a pencil out, ask your neighbor, see if they have a pencil that you can borrow, okay? I would like you right now, well, actually, before we do the first thing, I would like for you to identify a place on this graph where the Earth experienced global warming. Talk to your table mates, find a place where the Earth experienced global warming and put an arrow next to that. Or circle, or highlight, or indicate in some way, okay, where you have global warming. Did you find a spot? Okay. Where did you find one? Colin, where did you guys find one back there? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well, I'll call on you again. Hey, Liz, did you guys find a spot of global warming? So can you tell me a spot? What's that, Liz? Between 350 and 300. So like this process right here is global warming. Oh.
Good morning, students. We have printed your schedules. We believe Power School app is up, but if you need your third trimester schedule in a hard copy, those are available in the main cafeteria commons area. Thank you.
It's not time to go yet, right? Oh, it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, rats. Oh, you guys, hold on just a second, though. I want you to listen carefully.